What's going on, y'all? In this video, I want to talk about something that I am particularly excited about, and that is this concept that building software, especially building SaaS as a solo founder, really does get a whole lot easier over time. And I'm kind of wrapping up my first full SaaS that I'm building right now. I'm in the latter stages of it, and I'm really just looking forward to going ahead with my second and third and fourth attempts and just thinking about all the things that are going to get a lot easier as I'm going through those progressive attempts. I really do think that you should go in with the mindset of your first SaaS is probably not going to be your $1 million SaaS. So what are the things that you can do in your first and second attempts that you can build upon to make things easier for yourself down the line? Treating this as a long game, I really think is the better play. And so yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video. Is I'm going to break this down into two different parts. The first section is going to be about the things in particular that I'm excited will be a lot easier in my second, third, and fourth attempts. And then the second part of the video is going to be, even if it's your first attempt, just a handful of things that you can do, especially as a solo founder, to make the process a lot easier. Some of these things are things that I've done in my first attempt, and some of them are going to be things that I tackle in my second and third attempts. So yeah, let's just hop right into the first part of this video, which is going to be about parts of the software development process that are going to get a whole lot easier the second, the third, the fourth time that I build an application. So when you're building software, there are a lot of parts that are very similar between applications. Don't get me wrong, not every application is exactly the same, but there are definitely a lot of similarities and patterns and templates that you can take directly from one application that you build and kind of just copy and paste it into another one. Some examples of this that, again, I'm really excited to not have to build from the ground up my second and third attempts. These things took a lot of time in my first attempt because I really had to understand, everything that went into it, build it from the ground up, and make sure that it was going to work for my business. And now that I've kind of validated that, I'm able to bring those over into my next projects. So those things mainly include payments. So being able to accept payments from users and then provisioning access to them based off of that, account status. If they make a payment, maybe they have a flag on their account that now they have access to the things in your application. Again, that was a big undertaking the first time I built it, but it's pretty simple to now just kind of copy paste that over into any project that I build in the future. Similarly, having a system for managing users in my application was a big undertaking. There are many ways to do authorization and authentication, but I landed on one way for my current application, Dinnerbee. And while it might not be exactly the same pattern and flow that I use in my future applications, it'll absolutely give me a good base of knowledge to bring forward with me. Understanding what it takes to authenticate a user and provision them access in your application is a huge broad topic. So being able to kind of just take a slice of that, understand it, have it work in an application is a really powerful thing that I now have in my tool belt. Finally, actually having a fully finished application hosted somewhere on the internet, whether it's with a cloud provider or some other hosting method, using that same framework and architecture for hosting your application is something that is a very repeatable process. And it's kind of annoying the first time that you do it. You're going to run into issues, I guarantee it, especially if you're using something like a cloud provider that you're not super familiar with. But knocking it out once will give you all the tools that you need to do it again and again. Finally, this one isn't necessarily a specific piece of a software application, but if you look at it holistically, building a software application can be broken down into a process. It might be coming up with UI, UX mocks and starting off with that, and then building your backend and building your front end. And all of these pieces of the process are something that you can hone in over time. So I think now that I've gone through this entire process one time, I've really figured out which pieces of it take me the most amount of time, where do I have to focus my efforts so that I can get a better finished product in the end. And I'm very excited to continue to hone this process over time, but doing it once gives you an incredible baseline to do it again. So as you can see, there are a ton of benefits to templatizing your work as much as possible, figuring out what are elements that work for this application and that will probably work for other applications. And that can be a really powerful thing. But the other powerful thing that comes with building one application is just the confidence that it gives you to go and build another one. Seeing a finished product with users, with real data coming into it, is a very empowering feeling. And it's kind of addicting too. So I think once you start to see those numbers start to come in, see actual real traction in your application, it'll motivate you and give you the confidence to go build another one. I'm starting to experience this right now as I'm about to open a beta up for my application. And it's really, like I said, kind of addicting. It makes you want to see bigger and bigger numbers and also just be able to do it over and over again. Okay, so that's the first part of the video, things that I'm just very excited about that will become a lot easier as time goes on. But say you are building your first application. What are some things that you can do to speed up the process the first time? Because like I said, a lot of these things are kind of difficult the first time, but what are some things that you can take advantage of to ideally speed the process up as much as possible? The first one, and this is something that I've done here and there throughout my application, nothing too major, and I think I'll maybe lean into this a bit more in future endeavors, but just using AI to help you in areas that either aren't motivating for you or you just lack experience in. So for myself, I'm a software engineer. For the most part, I don't use AI to generate any of my code, but if you're not super strong in engineering, that might be an avenue that you try and lead towards. For myself personally, things that I'm not great at are design, especially like graphic design, if I need any images or anything in my landing pages or throughout my application. So I use Midjourney to create all of these assets that I might need, and that has saved me a ton of time and money. Something else that I'm not very good at is creating marketing content of any kind, really. So more specifically, I'm talking about the copy that is on my sales page. A lot of that was generated with AI, or at least started as an idea from AI, and I kind of tweaked it to match the wording that I was going for. Like I said, I'll probably continue to explore different AI possibilities that will speed up my workflow as much as possible, because when you're one person building an entire software and trying to maintain it, any shortcuts that you can take are definitely going to be worth it, as long as they don't degrade the quality of your application. The second thing that you can do, and I didn't do this the first time around, but I will absolutely be doing this the second and third times around, is outsourcing any of these tasks that you aren't good at or can't hand off to some kind of AI to do. The main area for myself that I'll be outsourcing is to a designer to create a full set of UI mocks for myself to work off of. I did this for myself the first time around, and it wasn't too bad. I think I came up with something that looks like pretty good, but I know that a professional designer would be able to do a better job in a shorter amount of time, and that investment, whatever it's going to be, will ultimately be very, very worth it for me. Other things that are worth outsourcing for myself can include, other kinds of marketing content, if it's video creation or any kind of content that needs to exist on any of my social media platforms. If I'm building a B2B app, hiring someone to do cold outreach would be a very impactful task for me, because it's very labor intensive and just not something that I want to do. But if I'm able to outsource that, it frees myself up to do more impactful tasks. So yeah, as you can see, there are a ton of benefits in building your first SaaS application and the amount of time that it will save you when you're building your second, third, and fourth. Like I said, I really do believe that if you're getting into this space, you should go in with the mindset that you should be building at least a few applications to really validate whether or not you have what it takes to do it. But the amazing part about that is all the learnings that you have from your first and second attempts can be applied throughout your journey, and they really do start to compound. That, along with the confidence that you gain by building full applications with users and everything, is just such an amazing feeling, and you'll be able to build off that in all your successive attempts. So yeah, thanks a ton for watching all the way through. Like I said, I'm building Dinnerbee. If you want to check out all the devlogs that I have for that, I'll leave a card up here, and I'll leave a link down in the description as well. Really appreciate you sticking around all the way throughout this video. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one.